Guys, that's it, it's official. Bilal doesn't even need to speak in order to wind me up. Yes, he's done it. Finally he reaches the ranks of Big Ed and Jessie. His on-screen presence alone is an irritant. As I'm sure you've all guessed by now, I'm here to review 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, Season 7, The Gift That Keeps On Giving, Bilal and Shaeeda. So after watching the first few episodes of Bilal, I've drawn the following conclusion. Considering Bilal's allegedly such a big success in the property and business world, he doesn't seem to be able to do the following: analyze, negotiate, anticipate, mediate, influence, communicate, or problem solve. I can't help but think for one in such a lofty position, there's quite a few things he seems unable to do. And I'm sure I don't need to remind you that Bilal's mum herself said he's the leader and he's the head of their family. But as far as I'm concerned, given his many shortcomings, what's wild to me is that both his mum and his sister seem infinitely more capable of leading than Bilal. But now I've got that off my chest, let's poke our collective noses into their business. But just before we do, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. A massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed so far. I really do appreciate the support. But if you haven't done so, please consider clicking that big red button and subscribing. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And also, if you enjoy what you hear, smash the like button. Thanks, guys. And so, without further ado, I give you Bilal and Shaeeda. So these guys have been married for just 7 weeks, and they decide to go and have a drink in a cafe so they can talk through the problems they've been having with Bilal's ex-wife. And so they sit down, and Shaeeda tells Bilal that she was very upset at being called a gold digger by his ex. And she said what happened in the kitchen was unacceptable. And guys, as per usual, Bilal just sat there and went, and instead of saying possibly her behaviour was unacceptable, he chose to say next to nothing. So as Shaeeda's getting everything off her chest, Bilal said, well, you're holding on to a hot coil, and all it's doing is burning you. Really? Bilal, I think you'll find that you're a package, you're a unit, you're married now. So whatever's burning Shaeeda, for whatever reason, is also going to be burning you as well. And I don't know, but going forward, you might want to consider that. And then he said, you just need to get to know each other. They do know each other, Bilal. They don't like each other. But really, guys, I can't help but think, Bilal, this is a problem of your making. Because for the whole 90 days, when you and Shaeeda were getting to know each other, you only facilitated 1, 2 or 3 minute meeting between the two women. And that was when you yourself was sulking. You should and could have done more. And then Bilal said, if you have a positive mindset, you'll have a positive outcome. And yet again, he decides not to engage his brain. Even if Shaeeda has a positive outlook, your ex-wife may not do. She's not in total control of the situation. It's not exactly rocket science. And Bilal tells production, I don't want all of this. I want peace. Who wants chaos? But with this situation between these two women, what they continually fail to address is just why Bilal's ex went round that day to speak to Shaeeda. How did she know the inner details of the prenup and what Shaeeda would and wouldn't sign? I know how she knew. It's because Bilal, you put her up to going round, and you're the one who lit a fire right underneath her, and she went rocketing round to Shaeeda to give her what for. It's my contention that this is all of your making, Bilal, and Shaeeda, you're extremely remiss for not questioning Bilal more about this situation. I'd like to know for sure, and I for one will not be doing a minute of my actual job until we get to the bottom of this. But Bilal just sits there as pious as all hell, acting as if the problem is everybody else's but his own. He's got a new wife and a new life, and it's such a shame he couldn't have also got a new attitude. But as we're going to find out, whilst Bilal was busy gaslighting the gullible, i.e. Shaeeda, his ex-wife was busy sharpening her fingernails. She's about to put them right in Shaeeda's face and drag them in a downwards motion. So next time we see this couple, they're in the car and they're on the way to meet up with Bilal's ex-wife. Shaeeda says, I'm going into this open-minded, and all I'm looking for is an apology. Shaeeda, that is not open-minded. And then Bilal said, yeah, I think that peace is a good thing on many different reasons. Guys, I always have to sit for a moment and try and work out what the hell Bilal means whenever he speaks. Not only does he use the wrong words in the wrong order, at the wrong time, but he's so busy trying to sound intelligent and prophetic that he pays literally no attention to grammar or logic. Really, what he should be saying is, don't hang out for an apology, let's just try and smooth things out. And Shaeeda says to production, I'm not a second-class citizen, and I won't be pushed around. And then she says to Bilal, she was so bold-faced, unkind and abrasive, and I'm still really upset about how she reacted in my kitchen. I felt disrespected in my own home. And to this Bilal replied, you're a Muslim. Apologising is a Muslim thing to do. Well, on that basis, Bilal, your ex-wife is a Muslim also, so maybe she'll apologise. Yep, that's right, just another prophetic statement that you didn't think through. So Bilal then lets us know that he's bought a book about divorce and blended families, and he's given one copy to Shaeeda and one to his ex-wife. I can't help but wonder, Bilal, have you read the book? In fact, he more than likely has. But did you understand what was written? Bilal, have you got a strategy as to how to solve this problem? I sincerely doubt it. But Shaeeda's into her stride now, and she said, I refuse to be a part of baby mama drama. And it's quite interesting that she would reduce Bilal's ex-wife of many years and her feelings to baby mama drama. It's undoubtedly a sign of things to come. And Bilal tells production, if things don't go well today, I could be looking at a very steep battle. Well, Bilal, things won't go well today because you haven't prepared anything. If you fail to prepare, you should prepare to fail. Bilal, as usual, is trying to be the voice of wisdom. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all of the time, but Bilal, you can't fool any of the people any of the time. We all know that God didn't bless you with brains. And so finally they arrive, and it's time for us all to witness Bilal's hilarious inadequacy on a loop. And so when they get there, he and Shaeeda sit down and get a drink, and they wait for his ex-wife to arrive. Shaeeda's still smarting over their previous encounter, and she tells production she tried to bully me because she has the upper hand as an American woman, and I'm determined not to let her do the same again. But guys, you could tell she was really het up about this because she started crying as she spoke to production. And there's quite a few people in my comments saying, oh, this whole story is completely fake. And for what it's worth, I really don't think it is. I think there are just too many real feelings on the part of Shaeeda for me to believe that they're, I don't know, clowning for the cameras. And so in walks Bilal's ex-wife. She sits down and she says, how are you? And it's very awkward and very quiet. And production asks her, do you plan to apologise today? And she looks dead at the camera and says, for what? No. Oh dear, oh dear. And so the two women start to talk, and Shaeeda says she felt disrespected. And then she said, you had a lot of rage when you came into my kitchen. You had your boxing gloves on. And so Bilal's ex said, that's not what I did. I won't stand for that. And then she said, when did I shout at you? And Shaeeda said, yes, you did. You had rage. You're not going to play me out to be a liar when I'm not lying. Now, guys, this was quite interesting to me because here's how I saw it. Bilal's ex-wife went in to ruffle Shaeeda's feathers and to try and press a few buttons, and she managed to do so. She went in to show dominance, to say Bilal and she are best friends and they're on the same page. I wouldn't say that what she portrayed that I remember was in any way rageful. She was just very purposeful, direct, and, well, quite rude. If I had to describe it, I'd say she was pressing buttons. But having said that, I don't doubt for 1 second that when Shaeeda's thinking back about the whole interaction, the rage that she speaks of was her own inner rage. I think she was so angry, and even afterwards, angry with herself for not being ready for her and not really matching her energy, that she sees the same interaction, I don't know, quite differently. But I do understand why Bilal's ex is saying that's not how it went down, because in reality, it kind of isn't. And she said, when did I shout at you? And so Shaeeda said, it's not what you said, it's the way you said it. Yes, Shaeeda, that's right. It was condescending. It wasn't full of rage at all. In fact, if anything, it was very, very measured. And Bilal, for the very first time, manages to say something of merit. And he said maybe you looked at the same interaction differently. But then Shaeeda said, well, I was ready to ban you from my home. Now, come on, Shaeeda. Now this is button pressing. Every time you say my home to Bilal's ex, I can feel the hairs on the back of her neck bristling. She's thinking, that's my kid's home. How do you work out it's yours? You've only been around 90 days. And guys, she gave a look which clearly said, Biatch, this ain't your home. And of course, the whole time, Bilal was mute. here's the time when he needed to intervene to stop this from going left. I would have said, nobody's banning anybody from anywhere. Let's all just calm down and talk about this rationally. And then Bilal tells production he's not saying much as he wants to stay neutral. What? Oh Lord, you don't have to pick sides to mediate. It's a skill. Yes, another one that you don't possess. And so after pressing all the buttons that she wanted, Shaeeda said, I didn't want bad blood. I wanted a good relationship. But you came into my home with rage. You were not cordial and you were not polite. And so again Bilal's ex said, I am not apologising for something I haven't done. And Shaeeda said, right, that's it, I'm done. But by this time, enough buttons had been pressed. And Bilal's ex said, Bilal, you better get her because this is going to go real left, real quick. And she stands up. And guys, I couldn't believe it. Then she said, be careful, Southeast Diego will be up in here. What? Southeast Diego? It's hardly Compton now, is it? I wonder if she's a blood or a crip. Maybe she's a mixture of the two. Maybe a blip or a crud. The threats are a tad ridiculous. And Shaeeda said, so what? And his ex said, don't you dare say so what to me. And Shaeeda said, you are a bully. And Bilal's ex said, you need to watch who you're talking to. Bilal, you better get her because I will reach across the table and I'll wring you out. And at this point she's screaming and she's so mad she just storms out. But as she leaves, Shaeeda says, is that how you want to conduct yourself as a Muslim woman? What example are you setting for your daughter? And guys, I really think it was a case of touche. Shaeeda really did get the better of her this time. And Bilal said to production, I have no words. Thank the Lord. I have no idea what to do or what's going to happen. Shaeeda said to production, if she apologised, then we could have been friends. I'm upset because I know I've upset Bilal, but I'm very proud of myself and I was very diplomatic in my response. Well guys, that's true, she didn't shout, but she certainly pressed buttons, nuclear buttons, the truth be told. And so Bilal leaves Shaeeda there and storms off into the car. She gets in beside him, and as they drive off, she has a very self-satisfied grin on her face, and then she remarks, the city looks so nice at night. Bilal completely ignores her, and he tells production, I can't talk right now, as I may say something I'll regret. So the final time we see the couple this week, the couple are at home and Shaeeda says that Bilal is blaming her. As per usual, he's sulking, so she decides to make him breakfast in bed. She takes the tray into him, and Bilal said, it's snowing, so the office is closed. Bilal's just like all the top business movers and shakers. If there's a little bit of snow, he stops moving and shaking. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Jeff Bezos all stay in bed when it snows. And Bilal said, you disappointed me. When she sat down, you didn't even give her a chance to speak. And guys, I'm not sure I find that true. I think they both had chance to speak. It's just that Shaeeda got the better of her. And then Shaeeda said, well, that's what she did when she came into my home that time. And this proves it to me, guys. It was definitely tit for tat. I thought as much. And then it's time for more twaddle by Bilal. He said, you cannot let other people dictate your behaviour. Oh, Bilal, what are you talking about? The main thing that dictates our behaviour is how others treat us. For example, Shaeeda has irritated you, therefore you sulk. She's dictating your behaviour, according to you. And then he followed up with, don't let anybody take you away from who you're supposed to be. Bilal, she isn't doing. She's supposed to be a bad bitch, and she got shown up by your ex-wife last time. So the little display that you saw a few days ago was her reasserting herself. And Shaeeda said to production, I feel so upset. All the fingers are pointing at me. How many times can I turn the other cheek? Seemingly once, Shaeeda. And then she tells Bilal, I'm dealing with a bully. And Bilal said, you're focusing on the negative. She's not all negative, otherwise I wouldn't have married her. Well, Bilal, that's all she's shown herself to be thus far to Shaeeda. Maybe she's normally a mild-mannered, good-natured person, and she's just missed her 11s. Who knows? And Shaeeda said, I don't think I did anything wrong. And Bilal said, what's this point right here? Is this blame her, or take and acknowledge for yourself? Oh, good Lord, more illiterate gobbledygook for me to decipher. I think what he's trying to say is, are you blaming her, or do you acknowledge that it's your fault and you're accepting the blame? I think that's what he means. And then Shaeeda said, I take responsibility. I don't want to hate her. And if you want me to, I will apologise to her. If you want me to be the bigger person. And finally to production, she said, I wanted Bilal to stand up for me. But on the other hand, I don't want this whole issue to affect my marriage. And so she leans over and kisses him, and she said, "Are we good?" And he says, "Inshallah, God willing." Bilal, a word to the wise, God can't help you. You're going to have to sort this one out yourself. And that's where we leave things for this episode. So what does the Ebird make from all of this? Well, let's take each person one by one. Firstly, Bilal. So it's my contention that he set this whole thing up. I think he told her to go in and convince Shaeeda to sign that prenup, and all of the stress that's resulted from that meeting he's now completely unable to deal with. And also, in addition to this, he failed to get these two women to meet on neutral ground before this prenup talk. They should have been talking about, I don't know, the price of fish or whatever. Their first real conversation should never have been about something so incendiary, and for that Bilal's paying a price. Like I said earlier, he's unable to negotiate, anticipate, mediate, influence, communicate, or problem solve. The only thing that I see that he's able to do is manipulate, and he manages to manipulate Shaeeda into offering to apologise by sulking. And the fact he can't do all of the other things is why he has to do this manipulation. He needs her to apologise because I think his ex holds all the cards. I believe if he comes down on his ex, she's going to sell him out for putting her up to the whole thing. She's most certainly the keeper of Bilal's secrets. And next up we get to Bilal's ex-wife. Well, if it isn't the consequences of your actions. She came in and she wanted to be the head honcho. She wanted to walk into Shaeeda and Bilal's house and have Shaeeda under manners. She was busy doing Bilal's bidding, and ergo, bidding for her kids. But instead of thinking it through and trying to get Shaeeda on side, she went in an adversarial manner. She could have said, "Bilal's such a great ex-husband. He's been absolutely fair to me. If anything, he gives me too much money." You never know. She may well have convinced her. But instead she went in on the negative, and she kind of threatened her. And then in this most recent meeting, she was extremely quick to anger. I think she was only as calm as she was at Shaeeda's house, because she knew what she was going in to do and to say, and Shaeeda was completely blindsided. In this meeting, Shaeeda definitely got the better of you because you both walked in knowing it was going to be, I don't know, a clash of the titans, and you came out the clear loser. Shaeeda pushed every single button she wanted to, and some for fun, and she reacted in the worst way possible. She was right in saying that she wasn't enraged previously, but in this meeting, she became enraged real quick, and she started making pointless threats. What is the point of saying, "I'm Hood," if you're not going to do anything about it? I doubt you're going to beat Shaeeda up. So what was the whole Southeast Diego business for? I do understand that she wants to protect her kids, as she calls it, generational wealth. But like I said in videos before, she should have already done that. They should already have a trust fund in their name. If they haven't, that's on you. And then finally we come to Shaeeda. So whenever I've got two friends arguing about something, I always ask them, what does winning look like? If they can't really tell me, I always say, keep your eyes on the prize. And as far as I'm concerned, Shaeeda's busy rearranging the deck chairs as the Titanic bloody sinks. If you and Bilal's ex-wife don't make this up and quickly, Bilal's going to say, whilst all this is going on, we can't possibly try for a child. Shaeeda, you're 37. You need to get the show on the road as quickly as you can. Yes, I get it. You felt stupid when you were ambushed before, and you wanted to exact your revenge, but is it really worth it? If you think about it logically, what was the actual initial argument over? Signing the prenup? Well, you signed it anyway. So in essence, Bilal and his ex have already won that battle. Shaeeda's arguing just to make a point. She wants to make the point, I'm no pushover, but I really don't think she had to go to all of these lengths in order to do that. Bilal doesn't need much prompting to come up with reasons as to why you can't start a family just yet, and you've just presented him with an absolute beauty on a silver platter. More for you. And so that's about it. All I want to reiterate is the fact that I think Bilal has very little capacity to sort this problem out. And this is best demonstrated by the fact that there was no clear plan of what he wanted his ex to say to Shaeeda in order that she'd sign the prenup. He just let her run riot. And also, if he really wanted to shut things down, he could have said to Shaeeda, listen, let me speak to my ex-wife and I'll tell her that she can't speak to you like that again. And then we can draw a line under it. I think Shaeeda would have accepted that, and then he could have given a watered-down version to his ex. Bilal genuinely does believe in his own greatness, and I don't know why. Well, more than likely because his mum congratulates him just for breathing. But like I've said before, higher levels of complex thought aren't for everybody, and that includes you, Bilal. So guys, what do you think? Was Shaeeda just pressing the buttons? of Bilal's ex this week? I think so. And do you think on an ongoing basis Bilal's going to mismanage his head of household role? If I were Shaeeda, I would not want to follow behind someone who doesn't have the capacity to think situations through logically. I'd find that simply intolerable. But I'd love to know what you think, and I'd love to know in particular if you thought that on the first meeting Bilal's ex-wife was full of rage, or do you think that Shaeeda has completely misread or exaggerated the whole situation? Please put your thoughts in comments down below, and I'll get on with my next video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff, and I'll see you soon. I'm not sure how the sound's going to turn out with this new mic. I have actually got it, but it's taken me about 2 hours of messing around with levels to try and get anything near to normal, so I'm not sure how this sound's going to turn out. But please bear with me. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.